Welcome back, guys, to another video brought to you by your one and only literary pharaoh. This is not a morning workout talk. This is just me uploading a video. I did work out today. As you guys know, if you guys have been keeping up with me, you know I go Monday through Friday, and on the weekend, either on Saturday or Sunday, me and my wife go for our 3 mile, 2.89 mile. It's almost 3 miles. Sometimes I'm doing 3 miles because I'll run longer than her. I'll pass her up and come back and meet her and run back to our home. So I call it my almost 3 mile run on the weekends. However, I just wanted to make a video today just to let you guys know a couple of things that are on my mind. When I got to work yesterday, a couple of employees of mine that were upset about the election, about the turnout. And I don't care about the election, as you guys know. I don't give a damn about the election. I didn't even know who freaking won. The only reason why I know who won is because when I got to work, people were talking about it. I don't give a damn about Trump. I don't give a damn about Kamala. I don't give a damn about Bush. I don't give a damn about Clinton. I don't give a damn about any of these presidents. It's just sad that the majority of the American people, they really hone in on these topics and these topics that these politicians put forth on the table. And when they put these topics on the table, they're always topics that are going to pull and elicit at your heartstrings. They're going to pull at your heartstrings and tug at your heartstrings. They're going to appeal to your emotional side. And once they start to appeal to your emotional side, therefore you have a subtle insertion of your soul, all right, of your being. You start to insert yourself inside your message. And what that does is you start to have a frequency of opposing reference points beginning to actually converge with one another. So what that does, that it actually makes you a person who's supposed to be logical. We're supposed to have common sense, but it makes you as a person get buried deep into the politics of their topics. See, politics is not something that you can go into to extract sensible solutions or sensible things out of. Politics in and of itself is a chaotic term that's put upon the minds of the people in a form of banter and verbiage and rhetoric and talking, okay? And you never get to the core issue. You never get to the core problem. Politics is something that's a sort of like a mask, right? It's sort of like a concealing agent that conceals the truth beneath. But it gives a veneer of truth, nevertheless, because people who are unbeknownst to what the tactics of their oppressors are, they tend to look at politics as a means of people trying to get to solutions. It's never about solutions. It's about chaos and to keep you in the state of being that's never resolved. So that's why I don't care about politics, because I can't control what they do in the White House. And people say, well, if you voting doesn't matter. I've had multiple videos about how voting doesn't matter. If you believe that voting matters, then to each its own. If voting truly mattered, then the oppressors, those in power, would not be in power. The current economic framework of our contemporary society would not be the way that it is right now, where the elite and the rich continue to get rich while the rest of us are just operating as working slaves. Essentially, that's what we're doing. So when you think deep about it, voting never counted. It's just a way to look at my other videos. It's just a way for them to gain data. It's data for them. It's a data collecting tool that they use to implement more legislation that's always going to be put forth as something that's going to benefit society, but in actuality, it's done to control you. But you can't see the control because we've already fixed our mindsets and a prefixed mindset to believe that anything that the government is doing is for our own good. And it's just a couple of people that are in the way, and a couple of different ideas, some pros and cons here and there. Some people are pro this, some people are pro that, and maybe if we just get to the table and talk it out, no, it's never going to be that way, because money is at the root of it. And when they say that money is the root of all evil, it's not that the love of money is. But also money is evil because it convolutes the sensible mechanisms that we have already indelibly indwelt in us by our Creator. It shifts us on a whole different trajectory where we're not even thinking about common sense things anymore. We're not thinking about sensible things anymore. What we start to do is we start to factor in things based on the dollar. All right? You have people who say, I don't want to have children because they're too expensive. Now, when is creating life ever been a bad thing? But now it's put in a state of negativity because of money. People actually don't want to have children because it's too expensive. That's why money is evil. It convolutes the sensible components of the mind that we're given naturally. It's rendered to us by birth. It's a birthright. But the money, and especially the love of it, it convolutes the mind. So with that said, politics is ran off of money because these ideas, these laws, these proposed legislative acts that they're trying to put forward, whatever they are, because I don't even keep up with that shit, it's all done with the rhetoric of it's going to benefit you. Because every proposed act of legislation is going to have a group of people that are going to be for it, and they're going to have a group of people that are going to be against it. And we're underneath this idea that Republicans are for the rich and the Democrats are for the poor working man, and that the Democrats are for black people and the Republicans are for white people. I mean, that's what most archaic, simple-minded people think. That's how they think. And I'm here to tell you guys that all of you guys are stupid for thinking like that way. It's a divide and conquering tactic. It's giving you the perception that that's what it is. And of course, we understand that people's perceptions becomes the underlying factor that shapes their reality. But just because it shapes your reality doesn't mean that it's true. Reality is just an ideal of your personal worldview. So it becomes your personal reality. So in a sense, it's all subjective. The system is put in place. It's a system. Republicanism, Democrats, liberals, right-wing, conservative, all that BS jargon that you guys are into. They're all part of the same team. It's an evil cabal. It's a conglomerate. The ideal, okay? The ideal of politics in that separatism mindset of divide and conquer with that dual weaponry. It's a dual weaponry because it's two parts. So you're being attacked from two fronts. All right? So it forces human beings to pick sides. And once the human race starts to pick sides, then you already have the ability to conquer that race because they're divided. So now they're easily conquered. You guys have heard that before. It says divided we fall, and if together we can unite, we can do something. But if we're divided, we fall. That's why America is falling. That's why the world is falling. Because the dual-pronged attack that's been put here systematically and intentionally by the extraterrestrials that created us, the extraterrestrials that created the system, because it's a psychological system that's waged upon the minds of the human being. We can't even get out of it. That's how you know it's a trap. It's a trap that's been put here by higher, technologically advanced beings that are highly more intellectual than us by light years, billions of light years. But they're not even trying hard to do it. To them, it's just easy. Just like 2 + 2 is 4, it's as easy just to come up with that computation in the mind. You don't have to think about it. That's how it is with them. But it's difficult to us. It's complex to us because it takes a lot of digging and a lot of soul searching, a lot of meditating to look at the whole framework of the system and look at it for a diabolical system that it is. It's not a system that's here to benefit man. It's never been. But because we're always driven by emotion, we get caught into it. Oh, they're going to lower taxes, so my life is going to be better. Oh, this person's going to hire. Like, we look into these things and we get drawn in. That's the trap. It's an illusion. Whether they raise taxes or lower taxes, that has nothing to do with the choices that you make every day. The kind of choices you make in terms of how you treat your fellow man, the choices you make in terms of what you put inside your stomach, what you eat, it doesn't factor in your workout regimen. It doesn't factor in your meditative regimen. All those things that you can control, it doesn't affect that. So why put any emotion or put any energy towards that? Those are things that are out of your control. But again, it always goes back to, but we gotta vote. Again, I told you, voting doesn't matter. These people are going to hand select who they want to be president. It's a game. These things are already mapped out. They already know who the next president is going to be before we even get to that. Now, Trump won. It's already set up who the next president is going to be. It's already set up. But you idiots are thinking that my voting matters. Your voting never matters. You don't have a voice. You're just a working ant. You can never have a voice in an oppressive system. Now, the oppressive system is very, very potent, and the system is very robust in the fact that it can actually cause the populace and cause the majority of the people to think that they have freedom. That's the best type of oppression. It's the people that you're oppressing. You give them the perception that they truly have freedom, and that's the best kind of oppression because it kills the fights. It kills the zeal to break out of your oppression. And then the few people that are trying to wake you up, you deem them to be conspiracy theorists, like me. You deem me to be a crazy person, but I'm not being crazy. Now, they say that's power in numbers, and yes, indeed it is. But in a convoluted system, and in a system that's inverted, the power is never in the numbers. The power is most likely in the lesser. So the more things that people are talking about, it's very smart to deviate from what the population is doing. So if everybody's caught into politics in the election, if you're a smart person, you'll deviate from that. You'll extract yourself from that mode of thinking. You won't put yourself on that frequency because that frequency is made to deceive you, manipulate you, and suck you in emotionally. And so when a particular candidate doesn't win, or a particular candidate that you favor does win, then your emotional temperament is dictated off of the result of a false political system predicated on increasing chaos and never actually inserting any type of solution to the problems that they're bringing forth. See, politics is always good with talking about the problems. Politics is always talking about, oh, we need more of this, we need more of that, we need more of this, we need more of that. They like to unveil the issues that are challenging the modern man, but yet they have no solutions. Now you say they do have solutions, just that certain politicians are getting in the way. No, yeah, it's all based on money. It's never about the solution. It's always about the money. And so if it's all about the money, you can never actually get to a solution. So that means that all the talking that you see on these political shows is just empty banter that leads to nowhere. All right, you're better off just turning off your freaking television. Excuse me, I was about to curse that. You're better off turning on your television, turning off your television, and just doing something for yourself for that day. Politics. I mean, people came to work yesterday at my job upset, cursing because Trump won. I'm like, wow, that lets me know where you guys' mindsets are. You guys get caught into the sauce. You guys are all in that juice, drinking the potion, drinking the alleged elixir of politics being a solvent, of being some type of resolution, a resolutive act that's predicated on men in suits, Caucasian men in suits that are gonna insert certain legislation to make your life a little easier. You're an idiot. Life is never going to be easy. Life is always going to be hard. It's going to continue to get harder because the more you sit back and you're looking at the results of politics, you're only digging yourself a deeper hole. The best thing you can do for yourself is better yourself and evolve and remove yourself from the systems of the world. The system of the world it's made intentionally to make you lean and be dependent upon their systems. And when you become a person that's leaning and dependent upon their systems, then you become a person that's continually over time going to get worse and devolve. You don't evolve, you devolve. I mean, you go downward. Then your life gets harder. Now you play the blame game a little bit better. You become a little bit more efficient in the blame game. Now you can blame this politician. You can blame these people. You can blame the races, different races of people. You could blame different ethnic groups for why you are the way you are. You start blaming. That's what people who don't evolve, they play the blame game very well. They can't take accountability for their own actions. They play the blame game very well. I remember a couple of weeks ago, I went into HEB, and it was this African-American lady. She was in the produce section, and she was frustrated about something. I guess somebody got in her way. No, she was frustrated about something that happened in the parking lot. And what happened in the parking lot was that it must have been a Hispanic person, a Mexican person that must have, I guess they blocked her, they took her parking spot. I don't know what happened exactly in detail, but whatever frustration that I saw inside the produce section of HEB, it was initiated by what happened in the parking lot. So the lady, the African American lady, was just talking extremely loud, saying, "Go back to your country, you wetback," and da 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 da. I'm like, wow, go back to your country. That reeks of political rhetoric. You say, why do you say that, Literary Pharaoh? Because isn't that the issue? People keep in Texas, here in the state that I live in, isn't that, oh, the border, these Mexicans are crossing the border illegally? That anger that was shown by that African American lady shows me that that's right there was a prime example, all right, exhibit A of what politics does to the minds of people. It incurs hate. It's not peaceful at all, because people stand so strong in what they believe in, all right? They're so gung-ho about their stance and their position that it sort of gives birth to a very dangerous and toxic sense of self-righteousness. And so you have this sort of righteous indignation within you, feeling that you have the right to say or do certain things based upon your strong stance on a particular position. So based upon what that lady said about going back to your country, it's clear that she's a person that probably is on the topic of politicians, or either Ted Cruz or these senators or congressmen putting in legislation to block the border or stricter border controls to stop these Hispanics from coming into this country. So for her to make that statement about go back to your country, learn how to drive, Mexican this, Mexican that, that was very hateful. That was very racist on her part as well. But that's what politics does. It feeds on the baser, on the lower vibrational emissions of the human existence, meaning that politics is never going to tap into your higher self. It's always going to go to the lowest part of you and allow you to operate in that lower state. And as long as you continue to operate in that lower state, you can never evolve. That's why I'm very, very consistent with telling you guys to unplug from the system. Because if you have inner peace and you unplugged for the system, and you are unplugged from the system, and you're not keeping up with these little dumbass topics that these politicians talk about: abortion, gay rights, transgenders playing in the different sports, men playing in girl sports, all this, men going into women's bathrooms, all these stupid things that they put forth for you guys. You guys jump on it like lions jump on red meat, and you guys just start to devour those topics, and that becomes your topics, because it's been pre-planned to be the topics, because it enrages you, because it taps into that emotional state. So you start just shooting off at the lip, and then because you lack interperspection or introspection, you lack that because you don't take an inner look at yourself at all. You're always looking at things on the outside, on the surface, right? You're always looking at what these people are doing, and you're reactionary. You're never proactive. You're never thinking about what you can do to better yourself. You're always thinking about what somebody else can do to help you get better. So you become a psychological slave, a mental slave, coupled with you being a wage slave as well, because you still have to go to work. So you have a frustrated life. You're a miserable person. So you're expecting somebody to come in and swoop in and save the day. Politics, religion, Jesus comes to save the day. That's how we have that mentality of somebody or some entity coming in to save our day. And you have to add the fact, coupled with the fact that we also have the worship gene inside of us. And it's all inside of us. Because that gene is inside of us, it makes it very easy for us to fall into these traps. So hate is what politics exudes. That's the result of it. And subsequently, nobody gets anywhere. 4 years from now, we're going to be talking about the same shit. We're probably going to have another war, because that's what happens. War is just it's part of the human existence, and it's not supposed to be, but war funds the banks. I've told you guys this before. Federal reserves get rich off of war because countries have to take out loans from the banks to fund their warfare, to fund the materials, the tanks, the armor, all the things that they use for warfare, food, supplies. So war doesn't benefit humanity. It serves the purpose of the controllers, because it's a one-stop shop for a lot of the things that they want. They want to control the population, because it's easier to control a smaller amount of people than it is to control too many people. So wars is a way to depopulate. Using food is also a way to depopulate, shorten the lifespans of people, cause them to get sick a little bit early, make them get dependent upon the pharmaceutical industry. It makes the pharmaceutical industry a little bit richer. Human beings become guinea pigs, experimental, putting out these experimental drugs on people and getting them to inject themselves with all sorts of junk, promising that these drugs are going to heal them, and then rattling off about 50 side effects that are much worse than the condition that you came in with. And we look at these commercials and we're just smiling our lives away. Like something is desperately wrong with people in this world today. People are dumb as fuck. People they're dumb. I sit there like, am I the only one that thinks like this? Are people drunk? A commercial comes on television. Maybe I'm watching basketball on TNT, or maybe I'm watching something on CNN. I mean, not CNN, on ESPN. I don't even watch news channels anymore. And a commercial comes on about somebody lowering their A1C, and they're talking about a specific drug that they're taking, whether it's Ozempic or some kind of drug. And they have these people dancing with music playing in the background. Again, they're appealing to your emotional side. They never appeal to your logical side. They have to use music and entertainment and use all these different colors. It's all strategic. It's a hypnotic attack upon your mind from a psychological perspective. They're not trying to appeal to your logical side, because if they did appeal to your logical side, maybe then you may have a chance to wake the hell up. But you know what? Americans are so dumb that even if they did appeal to your logical side, people wouldn't still see it. They'll be like, oh, I don't see it. You have a commercial that says it's going to help you with one thing. But in the same commercial with people dancing, they're telling you, consult with your doctor. Because if you have heartburn, you're going to cause death, cancer in the brain, and heart failure, kidney failure, liver disease. They're rattling all these side effects that could happen if you take this drug. And I'm scratching my head here like, okay, the risk of taking this drug far outweighs the reward. I mean, by a large margin. It's not even proportional on an even scale where it's like, well, it's 50-50. No, it's like 90-10 or 10-90. 10% reward and 90% disaster. Why would I take a freaking drug that's going to help one thing, but it has the potential to cause 50 other things? But yet people get those drugs. Consult with your doctor. The reason why they're telling you to consult with your doctor, because that commercial doesn't want to be held liable and sued for them giving you false information. So doctors, they want to put it on the doctor's, plate. So doctors will recommend certain drugs to you, and they'll tell you to take this for about 2 weeks or take this for about a month and tell me how you feel and come back and we'll check on you. You come back, you may feel better, but then they check on you, then you start to have other ailments. And you're like, oh, doctor, I'm feeling some kind of pain in my kidneys. My kidneys. You know why your kidneys fucked up? Because the drug that you were taking to heal that one ailment is not causing a side effect, it's causing damage to your kidneys. Now your doctor says, oh, I'll give you medicine for your kidneys. Now you become a pharmaceutical dependent. You become a whore, a pharmaceutical whore. And the pimp is the pharmaceutical industry. And the doctors are the pushers of the drugs. So like an idiot, you keep going back and forth. You become hooked on the system because it's a system. The drugs were never meant to make you 100% or to put your body in equilibrium. The drugs were always a lie sold to you. There's no such thing as side effects. The drugs being sold to you are made to make you sick. So you can be dependent upon the pharmaceutical industry to continue to make you sick to the point where you live a sickly life, you die young. That's another form of population control. And if you think that I'm talking bullshit, then I can't help you. How many people have been taking medicines for years, medications, and they're still sick? How effective are those medications? How effective are those medications? Oh, they're very effective. They're safe and effective, and I'm healthy. No one's healthy. Everyone who's on medication, they stay on medication. People who change their diet, start exercising and eat natural foods and taking care of themselves and getting proper sunlight, stay away from synthetic vital minerals and getting natural vital minerals from the soil, eating foods that are packed with phytonutrients, rich microbiome from the soil that's germinating these seeds and giving the seeds the nutrients that it needs to germinate, to cause the plants to grow through the form of photosynthesis, enriched photon foods with color, rich leafy greens, seeds, legumes. We don't eat those things. Those are medicines. But we run to the doctor to get the medicine. Pop the pill. Idiots. So the pharmaceutical industry, the political industry, all of those things are tied in together. They're all here for our demise. But you guys can't see that because you see politics as a means to solve the other issues, but it was never put here to solve issues. That's the point that I'm trying to make. It's put here to incur more issues within the psyche of the human being, to cause a perpetuating state of unrest. So you never have rest. So when you have man that never has rest, he can never come to a point of thinking critically. He thinks emotionally, like an emotional sycophant. You're being pulled in every which way. And when a candidate comes on the scene and speaks your language and says what you want to hear, then you're all riled up like an idiot. I want to vote for him. It's going to make my life better. No. Don't fall into the trap. No one's going to make the world better. Presidents don't have power. Bankers have power. Extraterrestrial elites have power. Royal bloodlines, well, they consider themselves royal. Royal extraterrestrial bloodlines still run the planet. The Anunnakis are still here. This is their system. They created us. We are the guinea pigs. We are the experiments. Earth is a seed planet. Earth is a dome. All right, that's the habitat. That's the science lab. We are in a laboratory, but we don't see the laboratory. We see this as life worth living. Let's strive for it to be better. They're using our humane side against us. And that humane side that we have, being a gift that it is been used against us, so it now becomes a curse. Because humanity, inevitably, we seek to be better. We seek to evolve. We seek to improve. We seek to be better. So as we're seeking, they're putting false things in front of us to grab onto and to latch onto. Just like a rat that's seeking food. You put the rat trap down, the rat eats the rat trap, the rat dies. That's what we're in. We're seeking something, but we're being given something. But whatever we're being given is to our detriment. So that's what it is. And you guys think politics, government, presidents, mayors, governors, legislation, Supreme Court, Congress, and all this BS, y'all think those things matter? They don't matter. What matters is your decisions. What matters is what you do and what you do not do. What matters is your mind state. And you see, I keep always going back to the individual. I'm never going to go to systems. Because if the individual could work on themselves and the individual can improve himself or herself, then you become a little bit wiser, right? You become wiser. And these things that are put in front of us or in front of you become a joke. Then you don't play into the system. And once we stop playing into the system loses its grip on humanity. And once the system loses its grip on humanity, the system starts to get desperate to beg humanity to come back into it. So they start to incentivize humanity with deals to come back into the system. But we're never going to get to that point because people are always going to be in the system. When I say people, I mean the majority. That's the only time the numbers work. The numbers always works for them, the oppressors, in an inverted system. But in an inverted system, the numbers works for us because those who are small in number are those you need to listen to. It's not the popular people who have podcasts who are talking about the things that people want to hear. That's feeding into the system. I told you guys a story before when I was younger in middle school, when fights would break out in the cafeteria or fights would break out in the gym or fights would break out in the hallway. You had a mass number of kids stampeding through the hall or stampeding through the, whether it's in the hallway or in the main corridor. You have kids just running toward the fight to see what's going to happen. At a young age, no one had to tell me this. I wasn't taught this. It was just something that, I don't know, it just didn't make sense. I've always been a person to look at what the majority of people are doing, and I find a way to try to do something different. Not to be a provocateur in a sense or an instigator. No. I feel like I always felt that whatever is easy to do is never the most expedient. The most expedient and the most easiest thing to do is never often more times than not, is usually not the wisest choice. So if two people are fighting and everyone's running to that fight, why would I do what everybody else is doing? So what I would do, I would strategically walk the other way. Literally walk. While everyone's going this way, I'm going against the surge, the avalanche of humanity running towards a fight. I'm going the opposite way. I don't want to be a part of it. I've never wanted to be a part of what everybody else is doing because that's too easy. I never wanted to be influenced. I always wanted to be the person that was in charge of my own decisions. See, if I went to the fight, let's say I did go to the fight, I would be only going because I saw everybody else running. It's almost like when people play these pranks, right? You'll see a bunch of people running real fast, and the next thing, people who don't even know what's going on, they see everybody else running. They're like, well, I'm going to run too because I don't know what's going on. Well, that's you. That's impulsivity, though. But I could kind of give a person who does that a little bit of grace, because the parasympathetic or the sympathetic nerve response kicks in at that point. It's a survival mechanism. So at that point, it's fight or fight. You're just like, hell, it must be something dangerous happening. Danger must be imminent, and everyone's running real fast. Let me just run too. So it's because your lack of awareness that you act impulsively, and that's forgivable. But what's not forgivable is me knowing that there's a fight in school, and everyone's running to the fight. I already know what's going on. I know why everyone's running. See, it's a difference if you don't know why people are running, then you tend to just run because it's just common sense. The logic part of your brain kind of kicks in, because at that time you don't have the time to start playing Matlock and Columbo to be a detective to see what's going on, because at that moment time is of the essence. It could be somebody with a gun that's mowing kids down and everyone's running away. For you to sit there try to figure out what's going on, that could be, the cause of your death, because at that moment time is precious, so you have to move very quickly. But if you know why people are running, if I know why people are running, I don't care to see the fight. I don't care. I've never liked violence. I would just walk the opposite way. I didn't want to be moved by people. I wanted to be the movement, and I felt insulted by my own self. Not anyone insulted me. I insult myself when I allow myself to be moved by what other people are doing. It makes me feel like I have no mind of my own. It renders a high degree of perceived impotence on my own mind, and that I lack power to control my own decisions, and I'm only making decisions based upon what everybody else is doing. No. So I've always been that way. Even when I used to go partying and clubbing and all that, I was just it never was really fun to me. I was just like, okay, I guess this is what I'm supposed to do at this age. No, man. Never allow yourself to be moved by the masses. Think for yourself. You are a God. Generate and organize and dispense your own reality. Generate, organize, and dispense your own reality. You are a God. Be the God of your own realm. Be the God of your own brain. Whatever you can control, control it. Whatever you cannot control, let it go. Let it go. Don't waste your energy on things you can't control. And then what happens is that when, going back to this politics thing, what happens is that when a candidate who people don't want to win wins, in this case where Trump wins and people who didn't want him to win, they start to get mad at other people. And some guy actually said it at work the other day. He was like, people are stupid. And one of my coworkers was like, what do you mean? How the hell they gonna vote for Trump? How the hell they vote for Trump? People are stupid. How do you want to vote for Trump? Nah, people aren't stupid, man. It has nothing to do with voting. It has nothing to do with voting. We don't even know what the true results are. We just know that it was already set in stone that Trump would be president, regardless of what the vote said. And how did you guys know for sure that they really count the votes? You're not there. But you have dumbasses who believe in the system. Yeah, they're counting the votes. Elections have been rigged. People have played games. I mean, we live in a clown show, folks. The only way to possess sanity in this mess is to just make sure you take care of yourself, take care of your health, and take care of the things that you can't control. Leave the circus to the clowns. Let them have it. Let them have it. Give it to them. Let them have it. They can own it. All right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you guys for listening to my rant, and I'll see you guys on the next one. And remember, your health is your wealth.